Hey, the logo looks good, huh?
Yeah, I loved it. It was like I
Yeah,
tried to approach it. I tried to make sure that they see what our points are, just really quick blurbs. And so it's like it almost incentivized them to go forward.
I
Uh,
like it. One suggestion, which
yep.
is weekly held, is put your AI, your rules under the logo.
Okay.
That's our main
Yep.
tagline, and it's on the website, uh, front and center. So it'll be a nice, what do they call that? Congruency.
Yep. Yep.
There. Um, this is cool. I mean, I feel like we're really tight on our messaging now, and it's going to make a big difference.
Yeah, and that's what I tried. It's like from the word go of the plugin, not the plugin, but the login screen of keeping it. So if you were reading documentation and you came to this, they would just simply go, that makes sense.
Right. Right. Okay, cool.
Okay, so boop. Now I have a dark screen, so we'll get out of here if you want.
Well, hold on. I mean,
Okay.
people like the dark now,
No, but hell, I have both because people have both. You know, whatever you want to pick, you do. And in my,
and the logo looks really good
yep,
on the dark mode too. I really like the white with the white um,
shadow.
underthing and everything, shadow, yeah. Um, okay.
Okay.
Is this what we're envisioning the homepage to be now,
No,
or
no, 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 because that's part of what's going to change over the weekend.
okay?
Because this will all be changeable based on what the user wants. And so we will put together a screen that's made of plugins and they can change it however they desire at that point. But
Okay.
that's why I haven't touched it because it was like I figured out what I wanted to do. I figured out how to code it. And now it's like I just have to code that. So when you get to play with this, you'll be able to go, okay, I want to put this here. And you can do that.
And from our previous conversations from both myself and also hopefully for the large audience that we will eventually have that wants to go through all these videos on the history of BrainDrive. We talked about in one of our previous calls, um, separating out Plugin Studio.
Yes. I haven't figured out if that's the great way to go or not great way to, and you'll see why in a moment. And we still might get there. But right now it's just sitting there and we can pull it out at any time. It's just its own little page and everything of that nature.
Got it.
Okay. So
Hold
settings.
on just one
Okay.
second.
What? All
All right.
Okay. Now ready?
Yep.
Okay. Settings. I only have two settings plugins right now. And that's all because that's all I've developed. However, you can make any setting you want. It will go into the screen and it will look like it's always been there. So this is something that any plugin developer, whatever setting they want to have, they can control. So like if we have right now, all I have is LLM servers and settings. If I come to settings, I want to change in here what my theme is. I change it right there. It takes over and it's now saved.
This is the settings for the user or the
Yep.
settings
But
for
no,
the
or this could
developer?
be settings for users. This could be setting for administrators. Any settings at all in BrainDrive can be managed here, and they're all plugins.
Okay, so basically this is the admin panel, right?
Yeah, this could very well become the admin panel, however they want to set it up, basically.
And this is where, okay, do you want it to be light or dark? What models do you want to have? Permissions, all that. What plugins do you want to have available for people? All that type of stuff.
Yep. And like if we come here, I have the Olama server one, OpenAI and Claude and Anthropic and anybody else. They'll basically you can mimic what I've done here. The source code will be available, and they will be able to just copy and go. Because the only thing's different is generally in this area is how they communicate with the end LLM, and then the data that's being offered from there is quite similar.
Okay, and how, if any way, does this differ from like a normal settings that anyone would be used to seeing?
None really.
Okay.
None. It's because everything's always the same amount of information.
But it looks like you can configure this what's in the settings page too.
Yes. Oh no, this is all a plugin. People will easily have access to this code, and they can say, "Hey, let's say your server wants a piece of data that no other server desires for whatever reason." You could actually make two modifications to this plugin, have it in there, and run with it.
Right. So if you can modify your settings screen,
Yep.
which is not typical, right?
Yeah, exactly. No, that's what I say. The entire setting system is built on the fact that it takes plugins and it's dynamic and you can interact with it.
It's a modular plugin. It's a modular settings
Yep.
system.
None of even like the categories and the orders and like that, it is all populated based on the data that you control.
Okay.
Nothing is hard coded.
So we could have like, we're going to have some defaults here for BrainDrive Core, but then you can modify those defaults and
Yep.
add and subtract.
If your coaching business has you listing some type of servers for you to connect to, and you want users to, instead of handle that on a page level, handle it on a settings level, you could develop the settings page and then have availability of the data to work with.
Okay, sweet. That's really cool.
And then we go to the studio over here. So the first one, we'll go to here. This is the one I've been playing with. This is that. We'll talk really quick about the failures on this page right now. It's this button right here, the streaming. Hey, do you know what the difference between a chat and a batch command to an LLM?
Is that mean like it brings back the answer like line at a time versus just the whole answer?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. I have batch working. I think there's a buffer issue between the browser and React, which is causing streaming not to work right. So
Okay.
that's my other issue I wanted to get over through the weekend. So we'll leave streaming off. Just know right now it doesn't work and it behaves just like batch does right now.
Okay.
We'll pick a smaller model and these I'll change to just other things. But right now for me, I have it notifying me when I change stuff. And for your sake, for understanding, these are different plugins that can communicate with other plugins. So if I type in just a message, tell it hello. And this is the very basics of getting a chat to work. And I have cleanup to work like that.
So
But
this is communicating with Quen 2.5.1.
yep.
Okay. Quen 2.5, 1.5
Yep.
billion.
And
Okay.
I can turn right around and change to the 7B model and say, and then my Alama, of course, drops the one, brings up the other, pops it.
Okay. So chat's working now.
Yes. Yeah,
Now,
there's just a few nuances, like I said, that I just have to clean up, but it's working.
but you're able to communicate to an LLM via BrainDrive now.
Yes.
Which is huge.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. I'm taking no small feat. I know the weak points, and so therefore that's all I see right now are weak points.
Can you do API models yet or no?
Oh, okay. No, not yet, because I was cleaning up this and getting this working right before I handled the second part of settings.
That's
over
fine.
here. Yeah, because and that's why when we were talking about settings, all I'm going to do is need to copy this basic code of how to set up a LLM. I will change it to using OpenAI structure, and it works.
Okay, great.
We come back here.
Now, are you going to have BrainDrive Studio in order to have chats or
Nope, because that's part of the new system that's going to come in this weekend. What's going to happen is this area this screen, you will have the WordPress mechanic of publishing a page. Because you know everything about WordPress. So I took the example there. And then, like, let's say I want to publish this page, the chat test, because that's what I named it, and it will populate under this heading right here of your BrainDrive. So you will have this page, and basically what it'll look like now is we will go to get out of here. Boom. Get out of preview mode. There we go. You will see just the chat section, none of the studio sections. And that will look like the page that you actually see.
Okay, so basically, if we don't combine BrainDrive Studio and BrainDrive Core into one, then you'll still be able to chat with LLMs with
Yep.
BrainDrive Core without having BrainDrive Studio.
Yep. BrainDrive Studio, in essence, could become the administrative section of WordPress. If that makes sense right there.
It does make sense, and that's totally fine.
Yep. So that if you are running this when you at local user state where you're the only person, of course, you get both. If you step up where you're running this for a small company of 3, you own the company, you're determining what pages people have access to. You're the only one who has access to Plugin Studio.
Okay. And all right, so let's go to your BrainDrive for a minute.
Okay.
All right, so this is going to be a ChatGPT style screen where you can select models and stuff, right?
You can do whatever you want, but yes.
Okay.
Because
Well,
this
right. What you're saying is the default can be whatever it can be whatever you want, but it probably makes sense to default it to a ChatGPT style interface.
correct.
But if you wanted this to be stock prices or whatever, it can be.
Yep. Yep. And we'll
Okay.
have and I want to have plugins like where even where it says welcome back DJ Jones and such like that. You'll have plugins like that to pick where you can put your own message so that your own people can see what you want them to see. So if
Okay.
you're running a small little, or if you're a good example, your coaching business, if you wanted every day for when you log into your coaching page for it to give you something that motivates you, a small little baby challenge or something like that, that could be on your BrainDrive default page. You'll have the power to do that.
Cool. All right. So what if I don't have BrainDrive Studio installed? Can I still have plugins and stuff or no?
No, because it requires this to do that.
Okay, so
So
if I
it's
want, okay, so just to make sure I understand
yep,
where we're headed, without BrainDrive Studio, you will be able to chat with an LLM,
yep,
but you won't be able to have other plugins.
yeah, because that's an administrative side. This
Okay.
keeps the user restricted to user functionality, and the administrator has the ability to control that.
Okay, and it's fine either way. I just want to make sure
Yeah.
I understand. So I just want to make
Yeah.
sure. I know you have to have BrainDrive Studio to build
Yep.
plugins and pages, right?
Yes, because that puts everything together.
Yeah.
The conceivably that's also the dividing line of between an end user who can't have control of everything.
Well, that's the question I'm trying to get
Yeah.
at.
Yeah.
If I don't have BrainDrive Studio, let's say that you know, you have a company, there's 5 people in it, you're the admin of the system, you decide how everything's set up. Okay, so I
yes. Yep.
understand you're going to need BrainDrive and BrainDrive Studio. Makes
Correct.
total sense, right?
Yep.
Let's say I'm an employee and you don't want me to have access to build and change and blah, blah, blah. I understand that I won't have BrainDrive Studio, so I won't be able to do that.
Correct.
Right? But will I still be able to see the pages and plugins that you've built for the company?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, that's the main thing that I'm.
That's the publishing part I was talking about that I wanted to do this weekend.
Right. So basically, you know, you can set it up however you like. If we wanted to have a million different versions of BrainDrive, right? There could be
Yep.
a million different versions of BrainDrive Core in terms of like what's displayed when you download and open it up.
Correct. And then if we to link this up with previous conversations, I basically called them bundles that you'd be able to download, and it would give you the pages, the plugins, and you'd be able to have.
So let's say that you're a BrainDrive entrepreneur.
Yep.
And you create a page and it does crypto trading.
Yep.
You list that page in the marketplace.
Yes.
It's $10 to download it. Do I need to have BrainDrive Studio installed on my BrainDrive in order to buy, download, and add that to my BrainDrive or no?
I would say yes.
Okay, you do have to.
Yes, because that takes an administrative function to add.
Okay.
Where so that way you don't have users, basically almost like if you lock down a PC in a company, you don't want your employees installing everything. Same principle in mind.
Okay, so do you have to have BrainDrive Studio if you're an admin, or can you be an admin without BrainDrive
No,
Studio?
I think you have to have BrainDrive because that's the whole administrative part of it, is the ability to build and publish.
Okay, but then that means that really for user zero, if that's all there is, you have to have BrainDrive Studio.
Correct. Correct.
So you really can't use BrainDrive without BrainDrive Studio.
True. We could probably get this to a point where, let's say you want to, we have we'll call it a package, a bundle, or whatever, where this is solely focused on life coaching, and that's all you're going to get when you download. Where it would have the what's the right word for it? The parameters to set up all the coaching stuff, publish those pages for you, and lock down so Studio is not accessible.
I hear you, but
That's
um,
overkill to me.
yeah, it seems, but before in our conversation of
Yep.
whether or not BrainDrive Studio is going to be separate from BrainDrive, it doesn't
Uh,
seem like that's possible.
well, no, hey, at the end of the day, BrainDrive Studio is one click from not being here because all the functionality needed for Studio is also needed to display a page. So if I turn that menu option off where you can't see it, you do not have access to Plugin Studio anymore. Does that make sense?
But then that sounds like you could be an admin without Plugin Studio.
Well, you have no power. That'd be nothing more than being a president of a one-man company.
Right. Well, that's our target audience, right?
Yes. Oh,
We
yes.
think people will use this for business, blah blah blah, but like
Yep.
our target audience is to make it easy for you,
Yep.
right, to build, control, and benefit from your AI system, right?
Correct.
um,
But
so
you do okay. That when I talk about it in my mind of being able to download, let's say a finished page, right? It will auto publish for you. You don't have to be technical. You don't have to know where everything is going to go.
right,
You
but you have
download.
to have BrainDrive Studio.
Correct.
Okay, so let me just walk through a few just to make sure I understand. All right, I come to download BrainDrive Core,
Yep.
right?
Yes.
Um, let's say we kept BrainDrive Studio and BrainDrive Core separate, right?
Okay.
You have to download them separately, right?
Okay. Yep.
So I download BrainDrive Core. I do not download BrainDrive Studio,
Yep.
right? I log into my BrainDrive Core.
Yep.
What am I going to see?
You will see settings, and there'll be the settings that you have available. In other words, what plugins are available to you as a user. You will see your brain drive and whatever published pages are underneath that. That is it.
Okay, so it sounds like what you're saying is we or if someone forks BrainDrive Core
Yep.
can decide what plugins and pages we want to be inside of BrainDrive Core, and you will not have to have BrainDrive Studio to use those.
Correct.
So if we decide that we wanted to have BrainDrive Core, when you open it up, have a page for Kate that writes content and stuff, and a page for Adam that codes, right? We could do
Conceivably, you
that.
could do that. Yes.
We could do that, but like they're not going to, without BrainDrive Studio, they're not going to be able to modify or add or subtract things.
Correct.
And why is it that they can't do that?
Settings. Period. At the end of the day, is when you're talking about the difference between a user and administrators, it comes down to settings. That's it. Because the settings will dictate that when you see your screen as Kate, you see Brain Drive, you see your content management page, and that's it. And any settings that go with whatever you have to do as a
Yeah,
user.
I mean, I think
It,
we have to include BrainDrive Studio as
I, If you're especially on an individual case by case basis, yes, it is
And
almost
also, it's like make it easy to build. You know what I
yes.
mean? Like
Yep.
that's the first thing. And if you don't have BrainDrive Studio, you can't build,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
And
No debate.
we're hoping to have it be as easy. You know, we're hoping to have it one day to be so you don't even have to code to build, right?
Correct.
And for certain things, for example, using pre-existing plugins and pages and whatever from BrainDrive Marketplace, you can build without having to code, right?
Correct.
You just
Because
go in and
you
download it, but you do have to have BrainDrive Studio in order to do that.
where conceivably you don't have to really. Let's just say because if you wanted to create an environment, let's say somebody forks it or we do it. It doesn't matter who. Where you have accessible a download plugin uh, page. It downloads the plugin for you. You can say publish. That'll be the only option there. It will put it on your brain drive and you have access to it. You will not be able to modify it because you don't have access to Plugin Studio where you could change the page and add plugins and take them away. You just have the page and you have it how it was built by the original creator.
Well, and there's some things to like about that.
Correct. No, I'm not ruling this out. I'm just
Like
saying
if
it.
I'm a coach and I set up a brain drive for for my coaching clients,
Yep.
I may not want them. I want them to be able to add my stuff, but I may
Yep.
not want them.
To mess around.
But it sounds like it might also be pretty easy for me in that case to can I fork in quotation marks, but not really fork. In other words, I got my pages and my plugins, and I want when people download my version of my coaching version of BrainDrive for it to have all that stuff, but I don't want to have to maintain BrainDrive core separately.
Correct. They should be able to do that.
You can do that.
When we the vision of that point of the system is all you're taking care of is your plugins and your page. You are not worried about the core at all.
BrainDrive core really is like an operating system, right?
Yes. No, because it's starting to control how you install, how you do instead of unlike everybody else's implementation where it's basically an application because it dictates everything. It's basically the difference between Word and Excel, where the application basically tells you what you're going to do with it. In this case, it's like an operating system because you can put together your goal.
Yeah, I mean, I think, well, first off, I think, number one, if it's easy to have BrainDrive Studio there for user zero, like why not, right?
Yep, that's been my mentality going after local install user zero. It's there, and there's no reason for me to even play with the idea of changing it.
Okay, so you're operating under the assumption right now that when people download BrainDrive, they're getting BrainDrive Core and BrainDrive Studio.
Yes.
But it sounds like you're setting it up in a way where if I don't want my people to have BrainDrive Studio, I can do that.
When we cross the MVP line, that is one of the highlights on my list is permissions and somebody being able to dictate what happens in a multi-user environment.
Okay, sweet.
And we are so effing close.
Yeah, it's seeming that way. I mean, where are we at in terms of, I mean, it feels like we're, a couple weeks out.
Yes. No. I've been coding my ass off. I am trying to get to April 1st and we are gunning.
All right. Is there anything else you want to show me here?
No, because these are most of all these plugins will be gone when I start going live. Because I was like, this is the let's go to the test page because boom. There, like I said, this
Just
page is
walk us through this. Like walk us
which
through
part?
what's
With this
here.
whole screen?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the toolbox? What's by plugin? Like,
Yep. Okay. The toolbox is a list of all plugins that have been installed that do not have the category of settings. If they have a tag of settings, they go, of course, to settings, and that screen handles that. This screen handles anything else right now, and because we don't have anything beyond. So we'll
So if
stick to
you
there.
tag a plugin as settings, it goes under the settings screen.
Yep.
Otherwise, it appears here. That makes
Yep.
sense. And that's what makes the setting screens modular, which is cool.
Yep. Okay. If you go by category to look at these, this shows you all the different categories that we have available. They're the same plugins that are inside. They're just listed in a different order now. If you go by,
Okay. All right.
eh,
So this, you've got 100 plugins. This is the organizational
yep.
information architecture, basically, of how you go and find those things.
Mentally speaking, I am so willing to change the toolbox and how it's structured, but for right now, this has worked for testing, so I'm
I
keeping
like
with
it. I like it how it works. I don't love the word toolbox, and I wouldn't have known that you could click that button there and it would
Yep.
do something.
That's why we have training videos, perhaps.
Yeah.
Or we hold on, or we could come up with a different name for it. I didn't want to go with toolbar because
No,
this is
I think if there was something as simple as like a little visual indicator there, like maybe like one of those little greater than signs or something, like it just didn't occur to me that that was clickable.
okay.
And I don't
So
love the word toolbox, but again,
yeah.
this is minor stuff.
Yeah, that's really one little text word that I just go in and change it if I think it'll
Yeah,
be
no,
better.
and
Yeah.
I totally, like I've told you in previous calls, like I get that like that's not the hard part. And we're focused on the hard part right now, but I do think it's also important. This is better than it was last time from a UX standpoint. I would say fairly significantly.
Yeah, each time I do something, I try to improve in multiple facets. It's like, and mentally, I'm getting close to the last thing. So as I'm trying to push, there are a few responsive issues that I am so well aware of that as I go through, I'm going to clean up. And that's
Fine.
what the next 2 weeks for me are for. So like as if I put in here, just start typing a name in, it will tell me, and it will limit. These are the only plugins that I have or components that I have that have prompt in them. So if
Okay.
I'm looking to organize a list of 100 because I'm looking for something specific, I can do that.
Super cool. I don't even think WordPress does a good job of that.
Yeah, and I didn't look at WordPress. I just know the philosophies of WordPress, and I tried to take it what works in my mind for the user being today and in 1 year. Because if you had a billion plugins, you need a way to find it. And then, of course, we have the nuances of the toolbar that are above here. They all still work. You can move this around if you want to, if you don't like it there. If you decide you want to go bigger, you go bigger. It's up to you on how you want to design your own page. I said the streaming does not work. That's just the nuances of this plugin. The AI chat is one solid plugin at this point. When I have time to play, my goal is to break out the prompt section where it's type your message and the chat history like that, where the different messages are displayed, because I think it would be better served if it was separate. But given the fact that we are looking for MVP, I put them together, less headaches for me in design time, and we run and go. And everybody will
Got
have access to the code. So if somebody wants to take up the charge and change it and modify it and play with it, they can do that. Let's see. As per normal, we have the configuration so that you can play with it as much as you want. It's like if you want to have it type different messages, you have that freedom to do it. I'll say right now, Klein, if you establish that you wanted to port some part of let's say this icon for typing it, for entering on the bottom right. I don't know if you can see my mouse at all.
I can, yes.
Okay, you can. So right there, if you
Yep.
wanted to put in what you want the icon to be and decided that that is going to be a configuration option, Klein can do that in one prompt. It is that smooth, especially with the rules files and everything set up. So just for an instance of like that. But every plugin has the same thing. I build the gist of how it's all set up every time. They're kind of similar, so you get the same consistency as you bounce from plugin to plugin. And they tell you this is the module name, module selection. So, and this is the plugin name. So if you're trying to, as a user, learn the hierarchy, of what component is in what plugin, that helps you figure that out yourself. So you don't have to play the guessing game too much. That's part of what I have to unorganize this week because I have a billion test plugins in one plugin A.
It's snappy.
That's the whole idea. It's like there's one of the things I said is that we develop our own and we do it plugin based. We could make it as fast as the user desires with very minimal delay because this is coming all over. One is on one computer in my network and the other's on the other computer. I'm serving this on an entire different PC downstairs in the basement.
Yeah.
So it's not even on the same PC at this point. Uh, Anything else you want to know about the screen?
What is the view, that little eyeball thing with the
Oh, this
cross on?
eyeball. This is in what's called development mode because you can move things and all like that. If you want to see what the user would see, right here, you hit that, everything to move and all like that is taken away, and this is what the user would actually see and they would experience if they started messing with this.
And what does
Oh,
the copy button do? Copies the page so you can build a variation of it.
yes, because it copies this layout to one of the other layouts that are right here. So that you can easily, if you want to do a different, you want to move something around in this type of layout, notice how it's blank right now.
I
But
see.
if you wanted to, oh, it logged me out. Get to here. There we go. So if I was on here and I want to copy this layout to the tablet design,
I
so I
see.
could, and there I can go, well, on tablet, I want this to be stretched out.
Right.
So this gives them the control to do that. And then if you want to do what you said, we come over here and this gives the entire page layout right here. Now this will be ported to a database at some point for testing. It is simply in a JSON file on the server. But if you wanted to take this layout and copy it to another page to mimic it, you could sit here and go and all you'd have to do is change this name right here so that it's not the same. But you could copy that out, come over here, create a new name. So now we have a test page. I didn't copy this. Go to here. There you go. Now, because I am unsecure on a browser, it will not let me copy by the clipboard. If you are using this on localhost or on a secure HTTPS, you'd be able to just press copy and it'll work.
And why would I want to do this?
Let's say you're doing test pages. You develop one page and it looks good, but you want to play with a different concept. You don't want to mess with your production level stuff, and you want to just tweak and play for whatever reason. I do as a developer. If I have a template page that I build off of all the time, I will sit there and copy my template, and this allows me to do that. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So
Yep.
I copy this out. Oh, let me get there. We go. Come over here to my new. There's my test page. Here it is. Come to here. That's what a brand new page looks like. Now I come up here. Oh. There we go. And load the changes. Oh, it didn't take. Ooh. See, found a bug.
I get the concept. You can edit the
Yeah.
code yourself if
Yes.
you want to.
Yep.
Okay. And what does the settings button do there?
This one right here.
Yep, that's the
Okay.
configuration.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, if you're here. Oh. Looks like I messed it all up.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. I was just on the wrong display. And if I go here, hit there, it gives me the configuration options.
And walk me through this again. What is
Yeah,
the
okay.
what do these allow you to do? This is where the bridge concept comes into play too, right?
Yes, part of the bridge because you have to have, like I said, if you when you're communicating to and from, you have to put data inside it. The upper portion right here is the module identity, the plugin type, the plugin ID and the module ID. These are uniform. Every plugin will have those pieces of data, and they are what allows the backend system to understand what this plugin is different from another plugin or another instance of that module, because they will all have a unique name. Kind of like we're plugin A, that's no different than David Jones, but module ID is my social security number, and that's how the IRS knows me from every other David Jones in the entire planet.
Yep.
And that the plugin configuration options is me as a developer. If I put in that I want the user to allow to modify the plugin in a certain way for his or her own experience, they don't have to go in the code to change it. I've allowed them just to go in the configuration options, make a modification, and then they can enjoy that change. And that's up to the developer, however they want to set it. That's why I said it's like if they wanted to change the icon down here and they want to allow the option, they could just simply put it in their configuration and then they have the power to do that.
And in a previous version, you had personas.
Yes, I do not have them yet, so I did not bother with the plugin yet. But
Okay.
they are gonna come. I will probably start with something similar as simple as you can do the parameters and you can do a system prompt. However, uh, saving it to the database, I'm not there yet, so it'll just be when it gets there. But it'll happen quickly because for me to use this as my daily driver, I need personas. And I think most people will.
Basically, you're just developing plugins right now is the main thing, and you're
Yep.
fixing like little issues that arise between them and stuff.
Yep. Yep. Because the core of it works. And by developing plugins, I'm testing concepts that people will try themselves and finding any loopholes and any issues that can creep in there. So I'm using the same system that every other user would use.
Why are there two trash cans?
Oh, this is for a page. This is for a plugin on the screen.
And I love that it pops up the little
Yeah.
tell it does.
Well, you don't
Um,
always want to watch a video, right? In fact, that's probably what I need to put over here. So if they cruise over it, they could see something that'll tell them what they can do with it.
yep. I dig it. This is cool. I mean, we're getting there.
Yes.
All
No,
right.
we
So
are really, like I said, the menu system change that's going to come in, like as soon as this meeting's over, I'm starting on it. Uh, that's going to be for me what takes this from an application to, as you said, almost an OS, because that's when you start developing, creating, and then making it a part of your daily drive without the plugin studio.
cool. It's exciting.